Hey everybody, Steve here, and Amy.
Hi.
This is my wife. We today are going to do something fun. We are going to do a Stephen King battle bracket. We took 32 books of Stephen King's. We've read both of them. We've read all 32, or most of them. So we are going to stack up 32 Stephen King books in a bracket, and we're going to see which one comes out on top. Amy,
Yes.
what do you think about this?
I'm looking forward to doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. It's fun to have you here. I think they'll enjoy it. We're going to bring up the bracket, and we're going to battle it out to see which book will be number one.
Number one.
Number one. So we are going to come up with a definitive Stephen King number one book. Every other YouTuber out there, their rankings will now be null and void. I'm sure they believe that,
Yes, I'm sure they do.
considering there's a lot more than 32 Stephen King books, and we're only bringing in 32.
Yes.
But 32, it was a good number. I mean, other than that, the next number up would be 64 books, and we'd be here 3 days trying to go through that. So let's make up. Let's get to the bracket and have some fun.
Yes, let's.
Here it is. Our first ones. We have Christine versus Finders Keepers.
Old King versus newer King.
Yes. What do you got? I'm gonna, for myself. I did not read either one of these books, but I've seen the movie Christine enough times, and I've read enough old Stephen King books to get the feeling of this. So, if someone handed me these two books, I would probably go with Christine.
I'll tell you what. I liked the trilogy from Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, End of Watch. I really enjoyed that as a more modern Stephen King. I have to admit, I love the story of Christine. The whole idea of the car and the fact that it is haunted by its old owner and he is a spirit and takes over Arnie. I just love the whole idea. It is a true Stephen King horror, and it's funny because Mr. Mercedes was also about a killer who used a car. So it's quite funny that this ended up matching up together, but I will pick Christine as well.
All right, so Christine is going through to the next round. Next up, we have 11/22/63 versus The Dark Tower, book 7 of the Dark Tower series. Now, I read maybe a quarter of 11/22/63. Did not care for it. I thought it just moved a little too slow. I know people say once you get past a certain point, it picks up. I just couldn't get to that point. Whereas The Dark Tower, book 7 here, I loved it. I thought it was a great book. I powered through it. It was an incredible read. The ending, some people, it's very divisive ending. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I thought it was very original. The fact that, spoilers, guys, I mean, you end up basically having to go back to the beginning and read the whole book series over again to follow Roland's tale. So I'm going to pick, The Dark Tower. It's a no-brainer for me.
This is going to be a tough one because, unfortunately, the Dark Tower series, you're going to have 7 books. And this is the last book. I did read 11/22/63, and I really enjoyed it. I have to agree with you that it took a while to get going, but once it got going, it ripped right along, and it was very engaging, and I really enjoyed it. So this is tough for me, but
There can only be one. There can be only one. Yes. Yeah.
as much as I enjoy 11/22/63, I think the Dark Tower is going to have to take it
Woohoo.
because as a series, it was just phenomenal.
All right. Boom. Dark Tower's going through. Next up, The Dead Zone versus Cujo. I love The Dead Zone. I love the movie. I loved the book. I thought, well, of course, the book was much better than the movie, but the Dead Zone was just incredible. Cujo, I honestly, I just never got the urge to want to even read Cujo. I remember the movie, and it just didn't do much for me. So I didn't really think I want to read the book.
Okay.
So the Dead Zone is my choice to move through the next round. Amy?
I can't remember if Cujo was the first Stephen King book I read or if it was Carrie, but it was one of the two. And I loved it. I loved the way he made the dog a character. Some of the chapters were from, not the whole chapter, but some parts of the chapters were from the dog's point of view. And the fact that he was trying to show you from the dog's point of view and the dog has rabies, it was incredible the way he did it. And the humor he uses in this book at times, although in this day and age people would get extremely offended by it, I thought it was hysterical when I read it. Now, of course, I read this probably as a 7 or 8 year old.
7, 8.
Yeah, I was very precocious with my reading, so...
It's a bit young to read about a killer dog.
Well, I figured it's not going to be anything bad because it's a dog, so... with rabies. So I didn't really think it was going to be that terrible, but I loved it. It was a great, great book. I enjoyed The Dead Zone. It was another book that came at horror from a different direction. Most people would think that, oh, I'd love to be able to see the future, and it would be so cool. But the way Stephen King approached it in this, it was never a good thing. Sometimes it was good, but then there was always the bad that came with it. And the fact that it affected Johnny so much was another bad part of it. This is a tough choice for me. I love both of these books. I liked both of the movies. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with you, Steve, and I'm going to have to go with Cujo.
All right. Well, we have a tiebreaker. It's called the coin flip of doom. I will give Amy the call. Amy, call it, heads or tails?
I'll take tails.
Tails it is.
It is tails. Cujo is moving forward.
Cujo moves forward, unfortunately. All right, next up, Dr. Sleep versus the original Gunslinger from the Dark Tower. I love the Dark Tower. I've read this book at least 4 or 5 times, and I truly love it. It is a great book. It has everything you want in a book. It's got fantasy. It's got sci-fi. It's got western. It's got guy with guns. It's got the greatest opening line of any book anywhere, bar none. I'll die on that hill. Dr. Sleep, meh. I mean, I watched the movie. The movie was fine. It wasn't a book that, when it came out, I was like, "Ooh, I got to read this thing." And seeing as how it was a sequel to The Shining, I'm like, But The Dark Tower was just a little. I mean, most people, when they read The Dark Tower, some people even say, "Don't even read The Dark Tower. You can skip it. Don't skip The Dark Tower. Don't do it. Read it." The Gunslinger, yes. Well, it says The Dark Tower, the Gunslinger. But, yes. The Gunslinger, great book. That's my pick to move through. Amy?
I really enjoyed Doctor Sleep. I enjoyed Doctor Sleep even more than I enjoyed The Shining.
Ooh.
The fact that it came out much, much later than the Shining did, obviously. And I don't know if it was because Stephen King had aged and matured or what, but I loved the setting. I loved that it was about his son, Danny, and Danny was almost middle-aged. He was in his 40s probably, and it was very in-depth of how he was fearing becoming his father, and he was an alcoholic, and he gets drawn back into this fight against the Overlook in the end. Really, really enjoyed it. The movie was really good. It followed the book really well. The Gunslinger, it took me my second round to get through it. The first round, I just could not get through it. It just did not interest me at all. And I finally went back years later and decided to reread it because I wanted to get through the entire series. And I enjoyed it the second time around.
Of course you did.
So, as much as I enjoyed Dr. Sleep, I'm going to have to go with The Gunslinger.
Excellent. Gunslinger. Moving through. Next up, Misery versus Wolves of the Calla. All right, so book 5 of the Dark Tower series versus everybody's one of the best movie adaptations, Misery, to the book. I know the book and the movie didn't follow,
No, not exactly.
Not exactly. It's, she wasn't using a sledgehammer in the book. So I'm going to probably say, well, I'm not going to probably say, I'm going to say it, Wolves of the Calla. For me, I enjoyed the entire Dark Tower series. And I think all of them are, all 7 books as a series, probably one of the best series of books out there that you can read. So, yeah. Book 5, Wolves of the Calla, is my pick for this particular one.
Now, the funny thing is, The Wolves of the Calla was probably my second favorite book in the entire
Wow.
Dark Tower series.
That's cool.
It was my second favorite book. I really enjoyed the story by then. It was really starting to pick up. And it moved along at a nice clip. It was really advancing the story. Misery, I'm going to be like a lot of other people. I loved Misery. I loved the book. I loved the movie. Kathy Bates was absolutely perfect. James Caan did a very good job of sitting or laying in bed through most of the movie. But somehow he was still able to convey his anxiety and horror and terror.
So James Caan, what are you doing in this movie? I convalesce.
Yes, that's exactly what he does. For me, though, I'm going to have to call for the coin flip because I'm going to pick Misery to go through.
All right.
As much as I enjoyed Wolves of the Calla.
All right, I'm going to call it this time. I'm going to call heads. It's heads.
And it's heads. Wolves of the Calla moves up.
Wolves of the Calla moving on. All right. Under the Dome versus Carrie. Carrie, the first book King ever wrote.
Yes.
Versus Under the Dome, another 5,000-page book from Stephen King.
And Carrie's probably his shortest novel that he ever wrote.
One of the shorter ones. Yeah, I'm going to go Carrie. Because I tried reading Under the Dome. It didn't really click with me. Carrie, I enjoy the fact that this girl is just she's pushed down by her mom, by society. She just can't catch a break, and then she just snaps, and just all heck breaks loose. I'm probably I'm going to put Carrie through on my vote.
Yeah, and it's even more amazing when you realize that Stephen King didn't think it had a chance and he threw it in the garbage, and it was his wife Tabitha that pulled it out and said, "Send it in. It's a great book."
Yep.
And it is. I loved it the first time I read it. Yeah, for the same reasons you said. I mean, wasn't a bad person.
No, she wasn't.
It's just her mother was strange. Her mother and her father were both strange, and she was always a little odd because of it. And unfortunately, her mother was a religious nut, and she made Carrie's life a living hell before she even knew what life was. On the other hand, Under the Dome, I remember you bought this for me for Christmas the year it came out. And I remember I started reading it, and I would come out of the room and tell you how much I hated Big Jim, and I would tell you how mad I was at the people in this fictional town. They were being so stupid, and it's always good when you can get a book that hits you that viscerally that you start complaining about people that aren't even real. Yeah, I really enjoyed Under the Dome. There were some parts of it that were fell a little flat for me. I think because of the length of it, parts of it were much better than others. But overall, I really enjoyed it, but I'm going to agree with you and send Carrie through.
All right. Carrie moves on. Dolores Claiborne versus Salem's Lot. Hey, I did not read Dolores Claiborne.
You didn't read any of Stephen King's books with single ladies.
You make it sound like I'm a misogynist. No, I didn't. It wasn't that.
I didn't mean it that way.
But I love vampires. I mean, and he probably does one of the best jobs of bringing vampires to life. The original movie was good. I particularly liked the remake with Rob Lowe.
Yeah,
and
the miniseries.
That movie scared me to death. I mean, and I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So
the kid at the window.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love vampires? I mean, unless they're sparkly, then you hate them. They're not real vampires. So I'm just going to go with Stephen King's Salem Lot. Let's do it. Amy.
Yes, I enjoyed Salem's Lot. I actually didn't read it till I was much, much older. I don't know why I didn't read it. I was like, oh, it's about vampires. I don't really need to read that. But I finally went back. I wanted to try and read all of his books, and I went back and read it, and it was a good story. I really enjoyed, even for writing, he made the vampires really creepy and scary. I mean, even without the visuals, before he even had the movie or the miniseries. Very good book. I love Dolores Claiborne. The book was wonderful. I loved how it is. The entire book is told as Dolores Claiborne is at the police station. They arrested her for murder, and she tells the entire story of her life at the police station. It's being recorded, and that's how the entire book is laid out. So it was basically her voice the whole way through. Now, of course, they took breaks and had other people come in and everything, but if this was up against anything else, I'd probably put Dolores Claiborne through, but I'm going to have to go with Salem's Lot.
Excellent. Salem's Lot. End of Watch versus Bag of Bones. I read Bag of Bones. It was a fair book. I didn't find it. It's not one of those books where you go, you know what? I'm going to read that again.
Compelling.
Yeah, there are plenty of books on this list I've read multiple times, and I will read again. Bag of Bones, I read it once, put the book on my shelf. That's where it stayed. End of Watch, I didn't really much care for the Mr. Mercedes series. I tried to read a little bit of the Mr. Mercedes book. Didn't really much care for it, so there's no reason for me to read the rest. So my vote is going to be for Bag of Bones.
Okay, I too read Bag of Bones, and it was a good story, but I also didn't find it compelling enough to want to read a second time. But it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I fell right into it and read the whole way through, and it was a great book. End of Watch, I've already said that the Mr. Mercedes trilogy is a very good trilogy. I enjoyed it. As such, just for this one, my favorite book of these two was End of Watch. So I'm going to have to vote for that and call for the coin flip.
Actually, I'll just give End of Watch to you. Since, again, Bag of Bones wasn't bad, but neither one of us is giving a glowing recommendation for Bag of Bones, whereas you are giving a glowing recommendation for Mr. Mercedes series. So we'll just go ahead.
End of Watch being the end of the series, it really gives you the bang for the last two books, and then this one comes along, and they really did make it a good series.
All right, so now we're moving on. Cutting them down. Christine versus The Dark Tower. Book 7. It's only going to get tougher from here, folks. At least on this side of the bracket. Then we'll do the whole thing on the other side. Again, I got to say Dark Tower. Dark Tower is just, in my opinion, a superior... It's the end of a 7-book series. Everything that happened before culminates in this one book, and it's an incredible book. Again, Christine's great. Dark Tower is better.
Christine has a very special place in my heart. I love the novel. I love the characters. Even the bad guys in the novel. I love them. Everyone meshed so well together. And I know the Dark Tower is a very good closing to a long series that everybody was waiting for decades to finish. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, Christine. I'm going to have to go with the Dark Tower.
All right. Cujo versus the Gunslinger. The first book of the Dark Tower. Again, for all the reasons I gave before, I'm picking the Gunslinger.
I'm sorry, we're going to need the coin flip.
The coin flip?
I'm going to go with Cujo. It has a very special place.
All right. Call it, please.
I'm going to call heads.
Tails. It's tails. Dark Tower goes through. Sorry about that. All right.
I sense a theme going here.
The Dark Tower series is epic, and it looks like the Dark Tower series may try to just overtake everything else. Yes, both stories are great here, but I'm gonna go with Wolves of the Calla.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you on that. Wolves of the Calla. As much as I love Carrie, I reread it at least once a year. I'll pick it up and reread it. It only takes me about 3 or 4 hours to get through it, but I love reading it. It's a great story.
Wolves of the Calla going through. Salem's Lot, End of Watch.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot?
Yeah, Salem's Lot. End of Watch is a good book, but it does not compare to Salem's Lot.
All right, here's a toughie. The first book, The Gunslinger, versus the 7th book, The Dark Tower. Man, this is going to be a toughie because I love both these books. I'm going for The Gunslinger.
I, too, am going to pick The Gunslinger.
All right.
Because it is the start of all of it. The whole story. And, even though it took me 2 times to actually make it the whole way through the book, it is a good beginning to the story. It opens up, like you said, with the best line ever. And even though he's always chasing the Dark Man, and it seems like he never catches up with him, but everything that happens to him along the way, it's a great story, and you'd never get to any other books if the first one sucked. So,
All right. Gunslinger. Going through. Wolves of the Cala. Salem's Lot. I'm going to go Dark Tower. Wolves of the Cala.
We're going to have to flip. I'm going to pick Salem's Lot.
All right. It's fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, right now, there are no bad books.
No.
I mean, in these 32 books, there are no bad books. There might be some books that might not be as good as others, like Bag of Bones. You'll read it once. If you haven't read Bag of Bones, read it.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
But there are some books on here that just you want to reread over and over again.
Yeah.
All right. Whose turn is it?
Yours to pick.
Okay, I'm going to pick Heads, and it is...
It's Heads.
Heads.
Wolves of the Cala.
Wolves of the Cala. The winner for this side of the bracket
is the Gunslinger.
Oh, I was going to pick the Gunslinger. You're picking the Gunslinger?
We're picking the Gunslinger.
All right, picking the Gunslinger.
Again, like I said before, it's because it's the first.
All right. So now we're moving to the other side of the bracket, where we have the fourth book in the Dark Tower series, Wizard and Glass, and The Green Mile. Now, of the 7 books of the Dark Tower series, I had the hardest time getting through Wizard and Glass. It is just... I remember reading it when it first came out, got it maybe halfway through it, put it down. Didn't come back to it for almost 10 years, I think. It was a long time between my first read and my second read. But when I read it the second time, I enjoyed it more, but it was still kind of a slog to get through. The beginning was great, the end was great. It's just that middle part there with him and his backstory. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind the backstory. It just seemed to go on a little too long for me.
Yeah.
Whereas The Green Mile, I read The Green Mile when it came out in 6 individual...
So did I.
Novels.
Yeah.
6 little novellas.
Yeah.
And then eventually it came out in one collected edition. All 6 books are back here behind us on the bookshelf.
Yep.
I think the Green Mile series as a whole was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the story. I know we're talking books and not movies, but the movie was incredible.
Yes.
So I know I'm a huge Dark Tower fan, but I think for this one, I'm going to pick The Green Mile.
Yeah, I didn't have as hard a time getting through Wizard and Glass as you did, which surprised me because you had told me multiple times it's so hard to get through. And when I got to that book, I was trepidatious. I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to start the tough one. But I agree that when in the middle of the book, when you get all his backstory, it really slows down the pace of the book. The pace up until then was moving along and it was really engaging, and just stopping there and going back and getting all his backstory, it didn't help with the pacing of the book. I could hardly wait to get back to the story again and see where it was going, but I didn't have to put it down for 10 years to get through it. That being said, The Green Mile is going to take it for me because it was just a fantastic story, fantastic movie. I really think that Stephen King was back on top of his game when he wrote that story.
Firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, Green Mile, going through. Next up, Pet Sematary versus Insomnia. I love Insomnia. I love it. It's a great book. Amy and I have both mentioned to each other in the past, why hasn't someone made this into a movie yet? I think it would make a great movie. Amy thinks it would make a great movie. It's a great book. Pet Sematary, I get it. Got a creepy kid. It deals with zombies in kind of a whole different way, if you want to look at it that way. It's fine, but in my personal opinion, I think Insomnia is a better story.
Yes, I loved Pet Sematary. It was for the same reason I love Salem's Lot. It was a very creepy, scary book. Even just reading it and realizing what was going on and imagining that going on and you're in the story. Very scary. I really liked it. It was entertaining, but Insomnia is by far, in my opinion, the much better story all around. I loved, again, all the characters. And it was actually reading Insomnia that got me interested in reading the Dark Tower series, because there was so much of the Dark Tower in Insomnia. I was like, you know what? I think I might want to try the Dark Tower series now, because I really wanted to learn more. Because it was, they give you the tower and the little white doctors and a little bit of the Crimson King, and it's I want to know more. So yeah, we're gonna go with Insomnia.
Insomnia moves on. Next, The Stand versus The Drawing of the Three. The Stand was my very first Stephen King book, the unabridged version, not the chopped up version, and it was due to the '94 miniseries. I watched that. And I thought that was a great miniseries, but I knew it was a book. I knew I wanted to know more about this story, so I picked up the book. And by the time the group gets to Vegas, and Glenn died, and I knew the other characters weren't going to make it, I was mad. I was angry. I didn't want to continue the story because I didn't want them to die.
Yeah.
But I finished the book, Drawing of the Three. Incredible book. It just, I mean, it takes the gunslinger and just, if the gunslinger is a 10, the Drawing of the Three, they crank it up to an 11. And it's great. You meet so many incredible characters in this book. And just the things Roland goes through, the hell Roland goes through in this book is insane. That being said, The Stand, again, was my first Stephen King book. And it just, not just me, there are, it holds a special place in millions of people's hearts and mind. So, for me, I'm going to put The Stand through.
Now, when I was a kid, my mom had The Stand, and she had it in hardback with the cover with the two figures fighting. And I remember asking her, I said, Mom, what's this movie or what's this book about? And she said, she looked at it and she said, oh, it's a book about good versus evil.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to read that. And I just tossed it aside. Which I'm glad I did, because that was the abridged version. And like you, when I heard they were making a miniseries out of the book, I realized I have to read the book first. I always read books before I see the movies. So I went out and I saw that the one that my mom had was abridged. And I said, well, I can't have that. I have to have the entire story. So I went out and got the 1,200-page novel and read that. And I think I read that in about 6 days.
Wow.
And that's with working a 40-hour-a-week job. I read it. So I took it to work with me. I read it on my 15-minute breaks. I read it on my lunch break. I read it everywhere. Now, The Drawing of the Three happens to be my absolute favorite Dark Tower book. I loved it. I read The Gunslinger, and I thought, okay, that's a pretty good start. I really enjoyed it. And then I got The Drawing of the Three, and like you said, they just jacked it up and went for broke. I loved the entire story. It was great. And it kills me that these two are together, because this is my favorite Dark Tower book. But I'm going to have to go with The Stand.
All right. Stand it is. Now, you guys, feel free in the comments to let us know how we're doing. If you think we're making the right decisions, the wrong decisions. It's science. We're doing this scientifically. So trust the science. Trust that we're going to pick the best book. We only pick the best books. Speaking of the best books, we have The Dark Tower, Book 3, The Wastelands, versus Needful Things. I feel like a broken record falling back on the Dark Tower stuff, but I just love the Dark Tower. There's something about the Dark Tower series that just hits me in a certain way that I fanboy over it more than just about anything else.
Well, yeah, because it's sci-fi and fantasy, and it's right up your alley.
I mean, other than The Stand, the Dark Tower series is just incredible. Needful Things, excellent book, very cool story, very very great, very cool idea, but I just find The Wastelands with Blaine the train, who's the pain, a much more engaging story. So my vote is for The Wastelands.
Yes, I like The Wastelands. Blaine was a nice addition. Needful Things was a very good book. I really enjoyed it. I loved the fact that it was the last Castle Rock book. I loved that Leland Gaunt basically just turned everybody in town on themselves and let them play their little dirty tricks on people, and it really started taking a life of its own. He truly knew the people that he played the tricks on, and knew that they were going to how they were going to react before they even reacted. And I love the way he finished it up with completely obliterating Castle Rock. And as much as it pains me to do it, I'm going to have to pick Wastelands, though, because it is it's just a little bit better story than Needful Things.
Okay. It versus Song of Susanna. Both books I loved. It is just it's a lot like The Stand. When you ask people what their favorite Stephen King book is, a lot of people are going to say The Stand, a lot of people are going to say It.
And Salem's Lot. That's a pretty big one.
And Salem's Lot. I think I hate to use the word normie because but which neither of us are in this situation. But just regular book reading folk, it's either going to be The Stand or It for those people. I'm going to go for It. I know I love the Dark Tower series, but I think It was just freaky, creepy, weird enough. I remember reading this book when I read this book. I would listen to Pink Floyd, Pulse, their 2-disc Pulse, and I know some people can read with music, some people can't. When I was reading this book, I was in this Pink Floyd, Stephen King, just groove, and now whenever I listen to Pink Floyd, I think of It. There are just certain songs that hit that I remember reading it at a certain time, and it all just comes flooding back. So, thanks to Pink Floyd, I'm picking It.
Yeah, I am also going to go with It. I enjoyed Song of Susanna, but I enjoyed It a little bit better. It was an epic, just like The Stand, just like Under the Dome. It was a very dense book and had a lot in it. But I don't think anybody is better at world building and character development than Stephen King. And in it really shines through. I mean...
Take that, Brandon Sanderson. All right. It going through. All right, Desperation versus Firestarter. Now, Desperation came out at the same time as The Regulators.
Yeah.
Desperation being written by Stephen King. The Regulators being written by Richard Bachman. I hope you heard those air quotes. As soon as I heard these books were coming out, I went to my local Kmart. They had a stand up. I grabbed both books. Checked out, went home, and I started reading Desperation first. I love Desperation. I thought it was a good book. Firestarter, cool idea. I mean, it fits right into my wheelhouse of people with superpowers. But I think with Desperation and my love of the Dark Tower and how this kind of folds into the Dark Tower, I think I'm going to go Desperation over Firestarter. That could be a big upset for a lot of people. A lot of people will probably pick Firestarter over this book, Desperation. I'm picking Desperation.
Yes, I also bought Desperation and The Regulators at the same time. I'm going to show my age even more. I went to the B. Dalton bookseller and bought it. But I read The Regulators first, and I absolutely hated it. I did not like the book at all, and I was hesitant to even start Desperation, but I was like, you know what, I bought it, I got to do it. Because, they had the same covers, and I was like, oh gosh, if this is more of The Regulators, this is not going to be good. But I really enjoyed Desperation. For whatever reason, I liked it a lot better than The Regulators. I loved Firestarter. I loved how it was the husband and wife in it got their superpowers from a paid government drug trial that they volunteered for because they needed the money, and that's how they met. They met at this drug trial, and they got their superpowers. And, well, I call them superpowers, but they weren't superpowers. It wasn't until they got married and had their daughter Charlie that she really got the superpowers. And then, of course, the government decides they want her, and they want to chase after her and get her in containment so they can use her as a weapon. But in this matchup, I'm going to pick Firestarter.
Oh.
So we're going to have to flip a coin.
Coin flip of doom.
And I am going to take Tails. Oh, and it's Tails!
It's Tails. Firestarter.
Finally, I win.
Firestarter moves through. All right. We have The Regulators, which Amy already said she hates, versus Mr. Mercedes, which she's already said she loves. Because of that, and since I didn't read them, because I didn't much care for the Mr. Mercedes series, I did like The Regulators. Not as much as I liked Desperation. But I like The Regulators. Regulators is like Bag of Bones.
Yeah.
It was a fine book to read once. I enjoyed it, but it's not a book I really need to read again. Yeah. But I enjoyed it much more than Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pick Mr. Mercedes because not only did I not like The Regulators, but I have read Mr. Mercedes 3 times. So I really enjoyed that book. So we're going to have the coin flip again,
Coin
Steve.
flip doom. I'm calling Tails. It worked for Amy. And it works for me! Woo! Regulators going through. The Shining versus Rose Madder. I tried reading Rose Madder. The Shining is much better than Rose Madder. I might be in the minority of this. I enjoyed the miniseries on ABC, The Shining, more than the movie. I know there are some people that just love the movie, but there's a reason Stephen King decided to make the miniseries and write it himself. So my pick, The Shining.
Now, I loved Rose Madder. The Shining, again, it's a classic Stephen King. When he was first starting out, and you can tell it's got the real creepy sense to it with the ghosts, the horror bits of it, the fact that you're trapped in a hotel with 12-foot snows and you can't get out, and you got a crazy guy running around trying to kill you. Great book. The movie, I enjoyed the movie. My family uses it as a once a year. We all have to sit down and watch it and laugh at it and quote the movies, quote the lines. The miniseries I enjoyed. I just didn't enjoy all of the actors that were in the miniseries. But I'm going to have to go with you and say The Shining.
Shining moving through. Green Mile versus Insomnia. I'm going for Insomnia. That's my pick. We already know why I picked Insomnia the first go around. I'm picking Insomnia this go around.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pick Insomnia too. As much as I love the Green Mile, Insomnia is just much better.
All right. The Stand versus the Wastelands.
Not even close.
Stand.
Yep.
Stand's going through.
Not even close.
It versus Firestarter. I'm going It.
Yeah, we're going to have to go It.
It. Here we go.
I mean, you got so many classics of his in this bracket, this side of the bracket.
Regulator. No, I'm sorry. Shining.
Yeah.
Shining.
Yeah, going to have to go with The Shining.
Insomnia versus The Stand.
Oh, two of my favorite books.
As much as I love Insomnia, The Stand is going to be my vote to go through in this round.
Pains me to say it, but I'm going to have to agree.
It versus The Shining.
I am going to take The Shining.
I'm taking It. All right. Coin flip of doom. So many coin flips of doom this go around. Call
Heads.
It. Amy goes heads, and it is tails. It makes its way through.
Doesn't matter. The Stand wins. Stand beats it.
Stand beats it. And here we are. This is it. This is the top two. The Gunslinger versus The Stand. Randall Flagg versus Randall Flagg.
Yeah.
Do you want to see Randall Flagg go through the desert, or do you want to see Randall Flagg go through the desert with sparkly buildings?
I'm going to vote for The Stand. I mean, you can't lose no matter which one you pick, but...
Again, once you get down... I mean, again, all these books are great. Once you get down to, like, the top 8, infinitely... better books than some of the stuff out today. The top 4, awesome. These 2, yeah. The Stand.
It's just such a good story. I know I've said it before, but if you want a masterclass in world building and character development, look no farther than The Stand.
The Stand.
Even more so than the 7 books in the Dark Tower series. I mean, yes, he did a lot of world building. You had a lot of characters and everything, but compared to The Stand, in my opinion, it just doesn't even compare.
So, that is the bracket fight, and the winner is The Stand. So that's it.
What a countdown.
Yeah, what a countdown, indeed. The Stand. The Stand has won out. Now, again, like I said, science. Don't question the science.
No, never.
Believe the science. We have scientifically proven The Stand is, at least for these 32 books, Stephen King's best book.
Absolutely.
If you need to do your own bracket fight and see if The Stand can stand up against other books we didn't have in this bracket fight, by all means, but I'm sure The Stand's going to win that bracket fight too. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. This video was a little long, but I think it was fun.
I had fun.
You got to meet Amy, my much better half.
Glad to meet y'all.
And keep coming back. If you want to support the channel, all that stuff is down in the description below. You can check out my books. I'm also a writer, maybe not to the extent Stephen King is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. But you can help us out that way. There's a Patreon. You can a couple bucks a month. You can help me out, help me reach my goal to become a full-time writer and not have to work the 9 to 5, so I can just focus on writing. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for hanging out with me this long. And that's all I got.
Have a great one.